wasn't very clever at school. I didn't get the good grades. That was left for the other kids that were good at listening and paying attention in class. I was a guy at the back prattling around trying to make people laugh. I actually only just got enough grades to get into college and to further my education. But there was one time where I got a good grade and I got an A. And I let everyone know about it. I let the cleaner know. I let the caretaker know. I let the guy who ran the corner shop know. I let the woman who ran the chippy shop know. My parents knew, my family knew, everyone knew. But here's the thing, I didn't deserve that grade. The reason I didn't deserve it is because I didn't do the work. My mom did it for me. She sat there the night before the deadline and she wrote the essay. She did something for me that I could never do. And she got me the grade. Now, some people will be right to call that cheating. You're right, it is. But I happen to think that it's a great example of this thing called grace. See, when Jesus died for you and me on a cross, he did something for us that we could never do for ourselves. See, every other religion says this, that if you want to find God, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to have a higher consciousness, if you want to connect with the divine, however that's defined, you have to do something. You have to muster up all your strength. You have to follow all the rules. You have to empty your mind and then fill your mind up again. See, every other religion or human philosophy says this: summon all your motivation and all your strength and live your life in a certain way. But this thing called Christianity, on the other hand, well, that's altogether different. See, that's not just for the strong. It's for everyone. Especially for those who, where it counts, can say that actually, do you know what, I'm weak, that I haven't got it all together. It's for those particular kind of people that have got the strength to admit their weakness. See, the Apostle Paul once wrote this letter to his friends in a place called Corinth, and I'm just going to read it, and it says this: if I had a mind to brag a little, I could probably do it without looking ridiculous. And I'd still be speaking plain truth all the way. But I'll spare you that. I don't want anyone imagining me as anything other than the fool you'd encounter if you saw me on the street or heard me talk. And so I wouldn't get a big head. I was given the gift of a handicap to keep me in constant touch with my limitations. No danger then of walking around high and mighty. At first I didn't think of this as a gift and begged God to remove it. And three times I did that. And then he told me this: my grace is enough. That's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness. And then Paul goes on to write this: once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. I quit focusing on the handicap I'd been given and began to appreciate in the gift. It was a case of Christ's strength moving in my weakness. Now I take limitations in stride and with good cheer. These limitations that cut me down to size, abuse, accidents, oppositions, bad breaks, I just let Christ take over. And so the weaker I get, the stronger I become. See, when Jesus was on a cross with his hands stretched out wide, nailed there for you and I, he was at his weakest, but at the same time was at his strongest. Because of his death and resurrection, we can have relationship with God once again. See, back at school, I had a choice. I could boast about getting that A grade and hide behind the reality that it was not me at all, that actually it was someone else who did it for me. Or I could boast about my weakness, as I do now, that I'm not very clever, that someone else did it for me. And I think that's the challenge for you and I. Let's not boast about the strengths in our character, but boast about the weaknesses that we have so that Christ can get the glory. And so perhaps it's time for us to boast a little bit more in our weakness, so Jesus can be stronger in us.